Beer here back at the Fantasy Bar. 6 of my favorite plays for Tuesday night. We're going to do a happy hour, including some of my favorite value plays, some of my favorite correlation plays. Nobody over 8K here. Who are we talking about? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Tuesday edition, Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. Good to be back here once again in the Fantasy Bar, providing 6 of my favorite plays on this 7-game slate on both FanDuel and DraftKings. Hope everybody out there had a great weekend. Hopefully enjoyed that Super Bowl. I'm sure you did if you were a Tom Brady or a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. But we are here to talk NBA with 6 of my favorite plays. Now, like I said in the open, we're going to do a happy hour. What's better than a happy hour on a random Tuesday? What does that mean? We're slashing prices. We're going to focus on some of my favorite guys in the mid-range. Nobody over 8K on FanDuel or DraftKings. Try to save you some money for your favorite studs and make lineup building as easy as possible tonight. So before we get into plays, guys, all I ask, do me a favor, click that thumbs up button. That tells me you're enjoying the video. You like your time here in the Fantasy Bar. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and get notified when these videos get released. All right, let's start at the point guard position with Cole Anthony of the Magic. Now this one comes courtesy of our Court IQ tool over on RotoGrinders. Invaluable information that you should have in your tool belt, but we'll give you a little peek at what happens with this current Orlando injury situation. We know Aaron Gordon on the shelf. We know Michael Carter-Williams also out. Evan Fournier also not going to play tonight. But what does that mean? It means big things here for Cole Anthony, a huge 6.6% usage bump in that scenario, and it basically becomes Nikola Vucevic. We know he's going to have a ton of ownership tonight. I have no issues with Vuce, but it becomes Vuce as Batman, which he always is. But Cole Anthony steps into that role as Robin, as that 1B to Vuce's Batman here, and it shows in the usage, it shows in the production as well, and it's going to show in this matchup. There is not a team in the NBA that allows more fantasy points to the point guard position than the Portland Trailblazers. It makes sense. Damian Lillard has to do so much offensively. That leaves little room for defense here, and that has shown in the stats. Portland getting destroyed by point guards, and I love Cole Anthony to step it up tonight and have a huge game against these Portland Trailblazers. All right, let's stay in the mid-range. Let's stay in that game. A little correlation on the other side with power forward Robert Covington. Now, Rocco finally starting to get it together. Been one of the biggest disappointments, in my opinion, early on in the season. We're really starting to see the minutes starting to trend up, the production starting to trend up, and they need him. It can't just be Damian Lillard. We know CJ McCollum going to be out for a little while. They're going to need more help offensively, and Covington, a guy that can give them that, but can also hit every category on the stat sheet, is what I'm always a big fan of with Robert Covington. But these salaries kind of lagging behind. We've seen him give us a 6 up to 7x return now in 2 of the last 3 games. So a small sample size, no doubt, but we got to start somewhere. And we're getting that with Robert Covington and his recent production here in another good matchup. Like we pointed out, as bad as Portland is against the point guard position, Orlando just as bad here against power forwards. Only one team worse than Orlando at defending this position. So the ability for Covington to hit all the categories, the minutes he's going to play, the matchup here, all added together makes Robert Covington my favorite play at the power forward position. All right, we're not done in the mid-range. Let's move to the center position with Mason Plumlee of the Pistons. Now, Plum Dog been playing well under the radar. This guy I don't think is getting as much credit. We know Jeremy Grant kind of stealing the headlines. I love him tonight as well. Still underpriced in my opinion, so a little bonus play for you there. But Plumlee, interesting play here tonight. We already talked about Vooch, should see a ton of ownership. We know DeMarcus Cousins going to have a lot of ownership if he plays. Wouldn't shock me to see him sit out. But the point is, there's a few guys that the ownership is really going to rally around, and I don't see Plumlee being one of those guys. So it gives us a different lineup. If people are spending up on Vooch, on Embiid, guys like that, we are instantly different. Plus, mid-range guys, I don't think Plumlee's going to be the guy that people go to. So enough about ownership. Let's look at production, and it's been there as well. 34 more DraftKings points now in 4 of the last 6 games. Like I said, this guy's been under the radar. Very, very good for this Detroit team, and matchup, very good here. DeAndre Jordan, yeah, he may block some shots, but defensively really lags behind and giving up a ton of production, and it shows in both fantasy points and defensive efficiency. Bottom 5 in both categories here are the Brooklyn Nets. Mason Plumlee, sneaky play here in the mid-range with big time 40-point upside. All right, let's move on to the mid-range and maybe the guy with the longest name in the league outside of Nikhil Alexander Walker. We're going to roll with JUAN Toscano-Anderson of the Warriors. Now, this is a guy maybe you're not familiar with, but I think you need to get familiar with him very, very quickly. He's been playing well since entering this Golden State rotation. In fact, playing an absolute ton of minutes, averaging over 32 minutes per game here over the last 4 since kind of arriving on the scene. And production been there as well. You know, has he broken the slate? No, but averaging over 26 DraftKings points per game. That's a great floor that we can get from a guy to fill that last spot in our lineup. A guy I think still has some more ceiling. Why? Very similar to Robert Covington, a guy that can contribute all across the stat sheet. Not going to go out there and score 40 points, but the rebounds have really been there. 29 of them in the last 3 games. Warriors still dealing with some injuries. Down low to guys like Looney. Wiseman, once again, going to be out here tonight. So Toscano-Anderson, a lot of potential here to hit those categories. Again, blocks, steals, assists, has hit multiples in those categories every time he's hit the floor. And it's pretty good in this matchup the other night. Going to go right back to the well here again. Get familiar with this name. I don't think this is the last you're going to see of him, like what I'm seeing from JUAN Toscano-Anderson in a rematch here tonight with the San Antonio Spurs. All right, let's move on to the shooting guard position with Eric BLEDSOE of the Pelicans. Now, obviously on DraftKings, you can utilize the point guard position with BLEDSOE as well, but I would stick him in my shooting guard position, cram as many of these point guards in our lineups as we can. But what I really love about BLEDSOE is the upside we can get. Now, it's risky. You know, we can get the 10, 15-point games as well. Obviously down the pecking order a little bit with guys like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson obviously dominating the ownership, but he has shown us upside. He has shown us decent returns, including 32 or more DraftKings points now in half of his games over the last 8. This matchup, I know Houston's been better defensively, but still one of the worst teams in allowing fantasy points. And it doesn't matter if he's playing point guard or shooting guard. Houston, bottom 10 in both of these categories. So BLEDSOE, not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people don't like these risk-reward players. Maybe in cash games you worry about that floor a little bit, but in tournaments, I love the upside. We've seen 40-point returns here for BLEDSOE. If we get that over on FanDuel, we're talking 8x return, 9, potentially as high as 10x. Yes, I said it. He has that upside. Point is, I like Eric BLEDSOE in this spot and going to be in a lot of my lineups here tonight against the Houston Rockets. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Tuesday night. But before we do that, guys, we're going to continue our Beast of the Night contest. How do you play? Well, absolutely free. A thank you to you guys for hanging out here at the Fantasy Bar. All you got to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points from my Beast of the Night. The closest guess will win themselves either a free 3-day pass to RotoGrinders Premium or a free RotoGrinders t-shirt. Without further ado, let's take a look. My favorite play for Tuesday night. You know, Matt's the Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. We're going to go to the other side of that game. I really like that New Orleans-Houston game. We're going to go back to the point guard position. We're rolling with John Wall of the Rockets, tonight's Beast of the Night. I already mentioned we may see DeMarcus Cousins sit this game out, but John Wall should be fresh, ready to go. Has not played in a few days here after sitting out that game against Charlotte last night. We also know Christian Wood going to be out for a while. Wall has been the big benefactor here in that scenario. 6.5% usage bump takes him all the way up to over 36% in the usage department when you take Christian Wood's production off the floor. So the sky is the limit here for John Wall. 33 or more DraftKings points now in 5 straight games. So we're getting a nice cash game floor. Upside, we haven't seen that massive game yet. I think we get it here tonight. The Pelicans have struggled against point guards, 24th in defensive efficiency. And we may have, again, Cousins sitting out. That's only going to boost things for John Wall. But even if he's still in there, I like this spot for John Wall. I love these prices under 8K on both sides. And the matchup doesn't get much better than a matchup with the New Orleans Pelicans, making John Wall easily my favorite play for Tuesday night and tonight's Beast of the Night. All right, guys, that wraps up for Tuesday night in the Fantasy Bar. Any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Also, fantasy points for John Wall. We'll go with DraftKings tonight. Closest guess for your shot at some free RG Premium or that free RotoGrinders t-shirt. Don't forget to head over to check out scoresandodds.com. Get everything betting-wise you need over there. Premium picks for a small fee. One sport can combo many sports. Check it out over there. Also, don't forget Wednesday nights, the DFS OGs, Notorious, Head Chopper, and myself taking over Grinders Live. That is every Wednesday, 5:30 Eastern, over on RotoGrinders. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut. Best of luck here tonight, guys, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist.